Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And with the release of part 2 of the 2.5 anniversary banners, we're going to take a look at first what I consider the best unit out of it, which is the new Protector Velzard. So very quickly go over what she does. Exalted champions get extra damage to water. She gives you 30 skill points every turn, up to 4 turns past the start of the fight. And then she gives everybody Drago, which I'll explain in-game. She gives everybody an element buff for 50%, so regardless of who you are, you will get extra damage. And then she converts every single orb to green. No RNG required. So I think she's going to be very good, not only for this meta, but in the future, and let's find out why. Okay, so this is the team that I've been using for Beatdown Battle. It's the meta team plus a few extras, Idol Shizuka, and Visions of Coleus Violet, because we do have actually quite a bit of points to use on this team, because everything right now is super cheap, so that's very nice. But Velzard will lead, everybody will get an element buff, everybody will get Drago. We only need pretty much a turn 1 orb changer with Veldora, and then after that, we don't need anything, so this is going to be a solid team. There are options you can use to replace Shizuka, obviously, because not everyone's going to have her. Violet, she's been featured on quite a few banners this past month, so you may have her. She'll work very well on this team. Alright, so turn 1, we just need the Veldora change, but we also need to make sure that we have a Exalted champion in that second slot, so we can actually change that orange. So now we'll do that, and then we'll bring Milim in. So Velzard has that same kind of ability that New Year's Blessing Xion has, where every turn for turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, you'll just passively get 30 skill points, and that will go over that 100 point cap. So you could either use them and be 130 and then go back down and then go back to 130, or you could just hold and be like 130, 160, 190. I don't really recommend that because obviously you're going to need to use a few skills here and there, but this is going to work out fairly well. So, let's see, how many points do we have here? That, okay, not that. So let's not use Shizuka quite yet. Let's get Veldora in here. We'll use his green buff. We'll use the extra ult gauge for Milim and Guy. Boom, awesome. And then we'll use Velzard. So now she's giving that 50% element buff right here, 50, but she's also giving Drago. And what Drago does is, maybe I didn't explain it very well in the first video, but I'd say it adds 20%, and people would think like, oh, it's 50 plus another 20%, right? No, that's my mistake. It's 1.2 times the initial value of a buff. So 1.2 times for 50% is 60%. It's 10% added in, so it's a 60% buff now. So if we look at that, and we hold down on Milim, she now has a 24% attack increase and defense increase because it started at 20. She has 60%, all element buff, that should have been 50 because, 1.2 times is 10, 50 plus 10 is 60. So any buff that you will put on any ally, so the magic buff, the weakness strike, attack buffs, weakness, we said weakness strike already. Pierce power, crit damage. These buffs will all be enhanced by 1.2 times its base value. So if we do this, and that gets us the EXALTED for Milim, so that's very nice already. Okay, cool, thank you. 24,000 damage right there, just on turn 2. Free and easy. 49,000 right there. Okay, so now we have a few things going on. So, let's bring Violet in here. We'll use her big time buff. And then I think we have enough to use one of Shizuka. Yeah, or we can use the... Here we go, yeah, we'll just do this instead. So it's not an optimized run. It is what it is. But we can then reapply Velzard, but let's take a look at it first. So 20, 25, and 5, 100% magic attack, 100% synergy rate, 40% synergy power, 100% weakness strike. Once we use Velzard, we get that element buff again, and we get the Drago effect. So now all these buffs are higher, 24%, 6%, 120% magic attack, 48% synergy power, 120% weakness strike. So Drago will make any buff you put on Milim or Veldora or Shizuka or anybody that you're running Velzard with, just better. So it does not affect alt damage though, because these are orbs, and looks like we have a barrier from the Chancellor Union for an extra 15%, so that's kind of cool. So this 100% that we're getting from Milim's own skill, it's not increased by another 1.2 times or 20%, so it's just 100. All these debuffs that are on the enemy, magic resistance, synergy resistance, crit resistance, these are not affected by Drago. It is only buffs placed on the unit, not the orb, not the enemy. Let's go ahead and let's send Milim first, because I'm pretty sure Guy will kill. And Milim does here 2.5 million damage in 3 turns. I mean, I would call that pretty good right there. And yeah, it's a combination of the units we brought and the power of Velzard, but remember, Velzard is doing quite a bit of help here. Any orb is a green, 60% element buff, Drago effect, enhances everything else. She's going to have a lot of value moving forward in the game. Alright, next up we're going to go into beatdown battle for the Dark team. We're going to use Dark Milim and Isis. Aaron is here for orange converting, which we don't really need because we have Velzard, so you don't need to bring her. We're again bringing Violet for the magic buff, bringing Shizu for her big time resistance down, or alt resistance down, and the weakness strike. And then Milim herself has the alt buff and the attack buff, and the attack buff and the magic strike and the weakness buff are all going to be affected by Drago, plus the 50% element buff. So this team should be able to clear this relatively quickly. Alright, so turn 1, we'll just use the Isis Orb change. We don't have enough to use the green buff, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. We'll bring Milim in, and we'll bring Shizu in for that extra protection gauge, and extra skill points from Milim's own trait. And because we're not using Pierce or Crit, and we're just going to do straight up normal damage here, it's gonna go pretty good. And let's see what turn 2 looks like. Yeah, hold on. Okay, we're back. We actually got Milim orbs this time. But look at this hand. Normally, if, with any other protector, this would be a dead run, a reset. Because, 5 oranges, 1 green. If we had brought, EX Frey, she would only change 3 of those oranges, and we'd be stuck with a 4 send. Okay, awesome. That's why we bring another orb changer to get around that. But Velzard has no restriction. She changes all blues and all oranges into greens. There is no number of orb restriction here. So we're going to go ahead and use it, and this entire hand is now green. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy right there. So we don't need the orb change from Milim. We don't need the orb change from Aaron. I mean, we don't really need the orb change from Isis anymore either, because the green buff is going to be around, and we're just going to keep cycling Velzard over and over and over, and that will eliminate literally all of the orb RNG that people have. And now the only thing you're really worried about is getting orbs for your nuker, which thankfully we do have here. We don't need to use anything either. We're getting that element buff, and again, the Drago is buffing that up to 60% again, alongside the attack buff for 20% is now 24. And, he's going to give himself a lot of crit and pierce resistance, so I didn't bring any crit or pierce units, because I want to nuke him relatively quickly, and I think we can do that here. Alright, so Milim has an alt. Okay, cool. And is there anything I can hold on this team? Oh, I can hold the magic buff. Yeah. So let's do the alt swap. Boom. Alright, we'll bring Violet in. We'll use the magic buff now. We'll put Drago back on in the element buff. We'll send Milim away. And then next turn, we can probably full power nuke with the 80-point skill and the 55-point skill. And he'll be done in 4 turns. 4 turns. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know who would be unhappy with that outcome. And even if you don't have super powered, fully duped out Milims like that, Velzard is going to help you do more than enough damage. He does not have a lot of health left in 4 turns, right? Here's his crit, here's his pierce, here's his defense. Milim's not going to give 2 shits about that. So let's bring Shizu in. Boom. Let's do that. We have 130 points. Actually, no, we don't have enough. Okay, well, yeah, we could go another turn. We could push another turn. but we lose the magic buff. So let's just do... Yeah, let's do that one. And then we'll put the Drago back on, which technically she already still has it from the last turn because we sent her away. And we're just going to murder Gazel right here. 376,000 damage. 4 turns. Not an EX character. Not, we didn't have all the buffs going. And that was not hard. You pretty much needed the Orb Changer and you needed a nuker. And maybe one support. Or maybe we didn't even need the support. Maybe we could have gotten away with the Milim ult buff and that's it. Probably. Maybe not 4 turns, maybe 5. Tragic, I know. Alright, so next we're going to take the Fire team, which initially wants a full green hand anyways, with Benimaru and the Burn. And now that we're going to get... We don't need you, actually, do we? No, because we're already going to get an element buff from Velzard, so actually you are unnecessary. Let's swap you out for... Shizu? Fire Shizu. I mean, we could do that, but she also has the Pierce power, and I kind of want to make an example of that, so... We're going to run this anyways. So, Shizu, Carrion for crit damage, Hero for burn, Violet has her own attack, she gives herself crit and pierce, and then Benimaru has burn and the orb change. So, this will murder Clayman in the same, 4 or 5 turns, probably. Alright, so turn 1, we'll bring Benimaru in for... Shizu, I guess. Maybe it wasn't great that we brought Clayman, because he's got type disadvantage. Oh well, nothing we can do about it now. So there's the burn, there's the orb change, the full hand of green. Awesome. We'll send these fire orbs last. The burn will help us, and the fact that we're going to get free buffs from Velzard on Violet means that the burn will be even more impactful. And because everybody's going to get an element buff, it means all of our units are going to do more damage, which means the burn is going to do even more. So look at this terrible hand right here. God, I wish I didn't have this. Well, don't have to worry about it, because... we have Velzard who can change all 4 of these blues to green. So, I think we're going to look fairly good here. Let's go ahead and give away some orbs. Let's give away the 1 orange orb to Violet just to make sure. And we'll use her own buffs. No point in really using the instant damage because none of these are going to be oranges. And I think we'll send you away and we'll bring Shizu in. And we'll use her Pierce power buff. So now, Violet has guaranteed crit, guaranteed pierce, 20% attack, and 15% pierce power. Let's go ahead and put Drago on now. And now, along with the element buff that Shizu would normally give, now Violet looks even better, because now we have 120% crit rate and pierce rate, which doesn't actually matter. But we have 24% attack, 18% pierce power, 60% fire attack. And those numbers will just continue to go up. And we have, burn right here. I mean, we could have used Hero's burn too. Might as well do some instant damage, because why not anyways. I know we just talked about not using it because we didn't have any oranges, but hey, damage is damage. And we'll send this. We have the ult for Violet. We're doing 12k a hit. Or was that 22k a hit? Hold on. Yeah, so he must have guarded something. Alright, so 56k damage. Look at that hand. Actually, we don't have an ult for Violet. Oh no, what are we going to do? Well, let's reapply the pierce, reapply the attack buff, because those are only 2-turn things. We have enough points because we're getting 30 points passively every turn. And this is a 1-turn crit damage. Yeah, 1-turn crit damage. Let's push another turn. I don't know if we're going to cycle Velzard, though. So I think we're just going to send this. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We have the ult for Violet now. And we're going to have 129 points next turn. Tragic. Alright, 18k. 1 burn is leaving, but we'll reapply another stack of burn from Hero. So, we don't really need you anymore. We don't need to use any other big-time buffs except for the crit damage buff, realistically. I mean, we don't have to use this one. Right? So, yeah, let's do some burn there. 3 stacks. Perfect. We'll bring Carrion in for Shizu. And we'll bring him in for Benimaru, whatever. We'll do the crit damage buff, which will also be affected by Drago. And then we'll bring Hero in, and we'll use a 4th stack of burn. And yeah, I think that's all we can do. Let's go ahead and apply this. We are 1 point shy from using the Shizu buff. Unfortunate. It really would have only added the 30% fire resistance down, right? But now Violet, with all the extra buffs, so guaranteed crit, guaranteed pierce, 18% pierce power, 24% attack, crit damage for 24% now, the 60% buff, and now we're going to send this, and he's going to die. Whether or not from the burn or just the normal orbs. 125k. Alright, well, actually it wasn't as much as I thought. 27k for that. And 54k, and the burn does 183. There we go. 4 turns. We didn't even really use a big time buff, right? That was all burn damage, Violet's cheap buffs, the Pierce Power buff from Shizu, the crit damage buff from Clayman. We didn't use any 55-point buffs, no 80-point buffs, and we were still able to murder him on turn 4. And this is not what I would consider an easy stage either, right? This is EX5 Clayman. He's got a decent chunk of health. He hits like a truck if you let him. So this was not like a small feat or anything. This is big time. This will allow people to clear this stage, which could be a thorn in their side, very easily. And what else we're going to do, just as the final part of this video, is we're going to go into Conquest. We're going to go into Conquest Milim, and let's see, she's space. We want to use an Earth unit. Let's use Earth Veldora. Hold on. Okay. I understand that this is not a realistic team for new players, right? You don't have 6-star Chad Gale Gibsons and Kurobes and and a level 100 Soe, but it's just an example. We're going to use Velzard with a full Earth team against Conquest Milim, who is going to be the hardest boss that early game players are going to have to fight. And this is more just showing how easy Velzard's going to make it for you if your team is not super top tier. And if your team is top tier, that's going to be even easier. But this is just an example. Please, tailor it to your actual expectations of how this is going to run. Bring Veldora in for Soe. Yeah, and then we'll kind of change some orbs here. That didn't work as well as I thought it would. Okay, well. Oh well. Let's see. 6,000, 5,000, 6,000 damage right there. We don't have enough to get Velzard. These blues will work, though. Ooh. Yeah, she still does damage, even against me. So let's go ahead and put some pierce resistance up for funsy onesies. And we'll go ahead and send these 4 blues. That'll get us Velzard next turn. Okay, thank you for the counter. I love it. Okay. Now, she's pretty much dead. She is guaranteed to die right here, and I kind of want to try and finish her off with the Chad Gale Gibson. So we have 101 points. We have Velzard. Let's use the green buff now, plus magic resistance down, which the Chad is magic, so excellent right there. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. This will be funny. If he actually kills her, I think I will giggle quite a bit. Because now we have the element buff, now we have Drago, now we have a full 6 Zen that are fully buffed up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, please do it. Please do it. Make my day. Oh, damn. So close. So close. Alright. Well, 4 turns Conquest Milim, definitely not ideal rotations and turns, but okay, we're going to make him finish her off anyways. There's nothing else we can do here. Alright. Let's give him some extra buffs, and we will let the powerful Chad finish off Conquest Milim. How very fitting to end this video. Velzard made the Chad Gale Gibson a god against Conquest Milim. Who'd have thunk? But yeah, I mean, I think this video did a fairly good job in displaying the real power of Velzard between, the full element buff for everybody, so it doesn't matter who you are, fire, earth, dark, wind, you will get a buff. You will get Drago, which will enhance any buffs you put on, which this team did not have any, except, the initial 50% that Velzard gives. And we got the full gamut of orb changing from, good hands to really bad hands, like that orange, almost full orange hand we had during the Dark Tempered Edge. So this is the reason why I am telling people to summon for Velzard, because she makes your life just so much easier. She will handle your RNG. If you don't have orb changers, okay, You know, if you get Velzard active, you don't need him. You do have to get her active first, but still, you need damage. She's giving you quite a bit. She's giving you at least a 60% element buff, and that's a pretty good start for new players. But that's why people should summon for Velzard. That's why she's going to go very, very, very high in my tier list at the end of May, next month. So you can, spoiler alert, I think she's really good, so she's going to go in the top tier. Who'da thunk? But let me know what you guys think of Velzard. That's it from me. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you all later.